How did a small island nation, surrounded by cold seas and unpredictable weather, come to rule nearly 1/4 of the world? How did England, later known as Britain, control lands in Asia, Africa, the Americas, and the Middle East? How did it shape modern economies, education systems, military strategies, and even the English language spoken by billions today? This is not just the story of kings and queens. This is the story of power, ambition, innovation, greed, strategy, and survival. This is the story of England's rise, dominance, and transformation. Chapter 1: The Birth of England. England's story begins long before it became powerful. Thousands of years ago, the island was inhabited by Celtic tribes. Later came the Romans, who invaded Britain in 43 AD, building roads, cities, and early systems of governance. But when the Roman Empire collapsed, Britain was left vulnerable. Into this power vacuum came Anglo-Saxons, Jutes, and Vikings, shaping early English identity, fierce, resilient, and battle-hardened. In 1066, a defining moment occurred. William the Conqueror from Normandy invaded England and defeated King Harold at the Battle of Hastings. This event centralized power, introduced feudalism, created a strong ruling class, laid foundations for modern English governance. England was no longer a loose collection of tribes. It was becoming a nation-state. Chapter 2: The Rise of Monarchy and Law. England's true strength was not just military, it was institutional power. In 1215, English nobles forced King John to sign the Magna Carta. This document limited royal power, established rule of law, protected property rights, influenced modern democracy. Unlike many kingdoms ruled purely by force, England slowly developed legal stability, which later became a massive advantage. A stable legal system encouraged trade, protected investors, reduced internal chaos. Power was no longer only in the king's sword. It was in law, contracts, and institutions. Chapter 3: The Sea, England's greatest weapon. England's geography changed everything. Being an island meant natural defense from invasions, a strong focus on naval power, early mastery of sea trade. While European powers fought land wars, England looked to the oceans. By the 15th and 16th centuries, England began investing heavily in shipbuilding, navigation, cartography, maritime warfare. The English Navy became the backbone of imperial ambition. Chapter 4: Defeating Spain and becoming a global power. In 1588, England faced its greatest threat: the Spanish Armada, the most powerful navy in the world. Spain wanted to invade England, restore Catholic rule, destroy English naval dominance. But England under Queen Elizabeth I achieved a stunning victory. Why England won? Vaster ships, better naval tactics, strong leadership, harsh weather favoring the English. This victory ended Spanish dominance, announced England's arrival as a global naval power, opened the door to overseas expansion. Chapter 5: Colonization, Building an Empire. England didn't conquer the world overnight. It expanded slowly, strategically, and economically. The Americas. England established colonies like Jamestown, Massachusetts, Virginia. These colonies supplied raw materials, created new markets, expanded English influence. Asia. In 1600, England formed the East India Company. This company was not just a business, it was a private army, a political authority, a colonial ruler. India eventually became the jewel of the British Empire. Chapter 6. How England Controlled So Many People. England ruled over millions with surprisingly few soldiers. How? 1. Divide and rule. England exploited ethnic divisions, religious conflicts, tribal rivalries. 2. Local elites. They ruled indirectly by supporting local kings, training administrators, using native armies. 3. Bureaucracy. England mastered record-keeping, taxation, administration. This allowed long-term control with minimal force. Chapter 7. Economic Revolution. England didn't just conquer, it industrialized first. The Industrial Revolution. Beginning in the late 18th century, England transformed the world. Key factors: coal and iron resources, capital from colonies, stable banking systems, technological innovation. England pioneered steam engines, factories, railways, mass production. This turned England into the workshop of the world. Colonies supplied raw materials, cheap labor, guaranteed markets. England sold finished goods back, becoming incredibly rich. Chapter 8. Education and Knowledge Power. England understood something crucial. Knowledge is power. They invested heavily in universities, Oxford, Cambridge, scientific research, military academies, civil service training, colonial education systems, created English-speaking elites, spread British values, ensured loyalty to the empire. Even today, many countries follow British-style education systems. Chapter 9. The Military Evolution. England's military success was based on adaptation. Army, professional soldiers, discipline and training, use of local forces. Navy, world's largest fleet, control of trade routes, ability to strike anywhere. Technology, gunpowder mastery, industrial weapon production, global logistics. The British military wasn't always the largest, but it was often the smartest. Chapter 10. The Empire at its peak. By the early 20th century, Britain ruled 25% of the world, controlled major sea routes, influenced global trade, shaped international politics. It was said, the sun never sets on the British Empire. But cracks were forming. Chapter 11. World Wars and Decline. World War I and II drained Britain. Economically, militarily, politically, colonies demanded freedom, nationalism grew, the cost of empire became too high. Gradually, India gained independence. African colonies followed. The empire dissolved. But Britain adapted again. Conclusion. Legacy of England. England no longer rules the world, but its influence remains everywhere. English is a global language. British law influences modern legal systems. Parliamentary democracy spread worldwide. Global trade systems were shaped by Britain. England's story teaches us power is not just about force. It's about institutions, adaptability, education, and strategy. From a small island, to a world empire, to a modern nation,